Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
Rain has been pounding the Northern Valley. Pictures taken by the Roseau Times region show flooding in streets and parking lots. As of 3 this afternoon, a rain gauge in Roseau showed 4.5 inches of rain. And just a half an hour later, a radar showed about 7 inches of rain, both north and south of Roseau. And that could be a glimpse of what we'll be seeing in just a little bit. More of that heavy rain, high winds, and possibly hail is expected to hit the region hard. Let's check in right away with meteorologist Nathan Hopper for a look ahead. Nathan, it sounds like it could be a rough night for some.
Yeah, it could be a rough night indeed, Andrea. We've already got a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for our western neighborhoods. This goes until 10 p.m. Again, this is for only our western neighborhoods at this time. We do have some severe storms near Bismarck at this hour, and we will see as we put this into motion that those are moving generally northward with a slight easterly motion as well. And we did just get that warning in Pembina County for just north of Grand Forks. And let's actually take a look at that, because that came in just as Andrea was talking to me just a few moments ago. We'll see that's for areas like Cavalier, north of Park River. Lots of lightning, heavy rainfall with this one as well. And it looks like they're calling for winds gusting to 60 miles per hour and quarter-sized hail with that storm right now moving into Pembina County. And as we put that into motion, we see it does have kind of that northerly motion. So this is mainly going to affect parts north of Park River and Cavalier. Again, that warning just came in about 45 seconds ago. And we do have another strong storm just north of Maddock, just west of Devil's Lake, heading toward Candu. So a lot of lightning with these, in addition to that heavy rainfall, gusty winds. But the main event we're seeing is now starting to develop. You see that line of lightning that goes basically right down our western neighborhoods. I'll circle that line of lightning right here. This is a line that looks to shape up here in the overnight hours and move in after sundown tonight. It's going to be a windy one for us, along with that torrential rainfall and damaging hail, and an isolated tornado is not out of the question as this line, of course, pushes eastward. Again, these storms are forming in that severe thunderstorm watch area in addition to that warning right now just north of Cavalier. But of course, coming up in a couple minutes, we'll talk more about the timing of when we expect this in the Fargo-Moorhead area and how this system could possibly affect our weekend as well, coming up here in a couple minutes.
All right, thanks, Nathan. And make sure you have the Valley News Live Storm Team weather app so that you can keep up with the weather anytime, anywhere. You'll get the latest forecasts and conditions so that you can plan your day. All you have to do is search VNL Weather in the App Store and download it for free. Due to the rough weather we're expecting tonight, the homecoming football game between Fargo-Davies and Grand Forks-Red River has been pushed up to 5:30. Also, tonight's football game in Northwood has been moved up to 6. Be sure to check with your school for updates on any football games tonight. It's time to take a look at this week's Valley's Most Wanted. Police say 38-year-old Chad Dimon is wanted for a probation violation on drug charges. You can call your local law enforcement if you have any information on him. A Spirit Lake man has pleaded guilty to assaulting a 20-month-old baby in disturbing acts that included shoving the child into a wall. At his plea hearing in district court, 22-year-old Jonathan Hill confessed that between December 26th of 2018 and January 1st of this year, he assaulted the baby by hitting it with his fists and shoving the child into walls. The injuries required the child to be airlifted for medical treatment, where he received surgery and spent months in the hospital. Sentencing for Hill is set for December 16th. He is facing a 10-year minimum prison sentence. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, we'll hear more from the child's mother. Roads are back open following a 3-car accident on Center Avenue and 11th Street North in Moorhead. It happened around 1 this afternoon. Officials on scene say traffic was slightly delayed while crews worked to clean up the accident. Our reporter on scene said 3 cars were involved with minor damage. At this time, no injuries have been reported. A 36-year-old Minnesota man is now facing 25 years in prison for extorting dozens of people by hacking their Snapchat accounts, including several minors, in order to obtain sexually explicit content. The U.S. Attorney's Office says 36-year-old Barton Scott of Minneapolis was convicted of 1 count of production of child pornography and 1 count of committing a sex crime while being a registered sex offender. Investigators say Scott hacked the accounts of 25 Snapchat users between April and August of 2017, many of whom were between the ages of 14 and 16. The city of West Fargo has confirmed with Valley News Live that Public Works Director Chris Brungart submitted a letter of resignation to the city effective this December. The news comes on the heels of the firing of Assistant Public Works Director Ryan James, which happened on Monday. The city did not say when Brungart submitted his letter of resignation. We're still waiting on documents to answer our questions. Also, regarding the firing of the Assistant Public Works Director, we're learning Ryan James had previously been disciplined for his leadership style. In documents obtained by Valley News Live, a quarterly review shows James was written up last October after HR received anonymous complaints, including leading by intimidation and bullying. However, records show James had completed a leadership training course, and the last records we have say James showed improvement as interactions with others were professional and personable. That was as recent as this past June. The city has only partially fulfilled our request for records so far, and we expect more information to come. The Trump administration has made good on a promise slapping new sanctions on Iran after both the U.S. and Saudi Arabia say they believe Iran attacked Saudi oil facilities last weekend. The U.S. Navy has also positioned military assets in the region. Bofta Yiham has more from the White House.
During a joint press conference with the Prime Minister of Australia, President Trump described new sanctions on Iran's central bank and National Development Fund.
Well, these are the strongest sanctions ever put on a country. We are at a level of sanction that is far greater than ever before with respect to Iran.
The latest economic move against Iran follows last weekend's attack on Saudi oil facilities, which the U.S. and Saudi officials blame on Iran.
No more funds going to the RRGC or to fund terror. And this is on top of our oil sanctions and our financial institution sanctions.
President Trump has not definitively ruled out a military strike on Iran, but he told reporters in the Oval Office that he prefers to show restraint.
Okay, go ahead. Knock out 15 different major things in Iran. I could do that and all set to go. The thing that does show strength would be showing a little bit of restraint.
The Pentagon is presenting military options at the White House Friday afternoon, and the U.S. Navy has positioned a destroyer near the coast of the kingdom to shore up Saudi air defenses. Iranian officials have denied involvement in the Saudi oil attacks. The Iranian foreign minister said, quote, Iran has no desire for war, but we will and always have defend our people and our nation. Bofta Yiham, CBS News, the White House.
When asked if Australia would join in should the U.S. get involved militarily with Iran, the Australian Prime Minister said his country generally considers such requests from allies, quote, on their merits. Today, President Trump took aim at a story involving a whistleblower and his communication with a foreign leader, calling it ridiculous and another political hack job. He also accused the whistleblower of being partisan and said his interactions with world leaders are always appropriate.
I don't know the identity of the whistleblower. I just hear it's a partisan person, meaning it comes out from another party. But I don't have any idea. But I can say that it was a totally appropriate conversation. It was actually a beautiful conversation.
Officials say President Trump and Ukraine's president will be in New York for the UN General Assembly next week and plan to meet on Wednesday. There were several climate change rallies across the nation today, including a big gathering outside Fargo City Hall. People there were demanding immediate action to address climate concerns instead of what they see as potentially catastrophic delays. Researchers say future generations could inherit a global climate where it could be too late to reverse damage that's already being done.
We'd all have our heads in the sand if we weren't paying attention to the concerns around the planet about the environment and the climate. And without getting into the debate of who's right or who's wrong, there's no doubt that we have to be engaged.
Events around the world today are ahead of next week's United Nations Climate Summit.
Llama Llama, having fun, blocks and puzzles in the sun. Time to
First and third graders at Longfellow Elementary got a few special guests for story time. 3 NDSU basketball players took time out of their classes to stop in and read with the students. Today's selection was Llama Llama, Mad at Mama. The athletes took turns reading and had a chance to answer some of the burning questions from the class. One NDSU senior says showing it's fun to read will never go out of style.
We always want to keep building on the youth and having a positive impact on the youth, because we don't want our youth thinking that, you know, it's just about video games and social medias and stuff like that, that it's okay to read a book sometimes.
After story time, the players got to show off some of their skills on the courts and even took time to sign autographs for some of their youngest fans. Don't forget to catch the Bison as they square off against UC Davis Saturday for a top 5 matchup at the Fargo Dome. Coverage will begin at 1:30 Saturday afternoon for the Farmers Union Insurance Bison football pregame show, with kickoff to cover at 2:30 on the KVLY and KFYR Bison Football Network. At least 2 people were detained in Nevada by local sheriff's deputies earlier today at a gate that leads to Area 51. An estimated 75 people gathered at the site after an internet hoax posted in June invited people to storm the once secret military installation. The group was inspired by a Facebook meme calling for people to storm Area 51 on September 20th, though the creator of the Facebook event later called it a hoax. The overwhelming response sent local, state, and military officials scrambling. The city of West Fargo isn't slowing down its pace when it comes to West Fest. Tomorrow, the fest begins bright and early with a pancake feed starting at 7:30. And make sure to get to Cheyenne Street early to save your spot for the parade. There will also be a craft and vendor show throughout the day and a street dance to end the night. West Fest has been around for nearly 30 years, and people in West Fargo hope the tradition doesn't fade anytime soon.
I've lived in West Fargo my whole life, and as a kid, you know, West Fest was a big deal, but I feel like now that I'm really involved, it's so huge, and our city has grown so much in the past, 20 years that it's just continuing to grow.
For a list of the full schedule, head to valleynewslive.com and click on this story. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney and West Fargo Mayor Bernie Dardis have issued a joint proclamation to honor Monday, September 23rd as Landon Solberg Day. A celebration of life service for Landon will also be held on Monday. The service will be at Shields Arena in Fargo. Visitation will be from 4 to 5:30, and the service will begin at 6. You are asked to wear any of the following: Landon's Light T-shirts, Bison gear, Eagles or Broncos jerseys, Star Wars or Harry Potter shirts, anything that represents Landon.